The crane accident, what can you tell us about this criminal investigation? What do you know?
No, the district attorney, is not surprising, is investigating. DOI will investigate. The investigation that perhaps is the most important is the Department of Buildings investigation. Our acting commissioner, Bob LaManfrey, I have an enormous amount of confidence in. I've gotten to know him more in the last 3 or 4 months, and this guy's a real go-getter. He's proactive. He's come up with a bunch of things that we can do. We, as you know, hired outside consultants and put $400 million into the study and did a number of things after the last crane accident. This one, he's got some other ideas. He convened 80-odd members of the industry, both in labor and management development side, yesterday, and they've come up with some good ideas, and we'll follow up on all of them. And we want development in our city, but make no mistake about it, safety comes first, and that's what we're going to focus on. It is tragic that we've had 2 accidents and people have died in both. It would appear that there is no connection whatsoever between the 2 accidents. They're very different things. What you saw the other day appears to be that the actual crane failed and that the cab and the boom just literally tore off. The mast stayed up. Back in March, what happened there was they were attaching a collar as they stepped the crane up, and they dropped the collar, whether it was through incompetence or accidents. Our own investigations will show that slid down, broke off the next one. The 2 of them slid down, broke off the third, and then the tower went over along with the cab and crane. This one, we've stopped using. There's 4 other of this model in the city. We've issued stop work orders right away on all 4 of those, and we'll investigate and make sure that anything that we can do to ensure safety is done. But I think it's very tragic. We should investigate everything. I think at the site, we hope to have 2 of the 2 easternmost lanes of First Avenue open by rush hour tomorrow morning. Everybody's back in the 7 buildings that we had evacuated as a precaution. The building that was struck by the cab and the boom, hopefully some people will be able to get back in. Our objective is the middle of the week, but we've got to make sure that all the debris is removed and shoring where it's appropriate is there, and the people who will take the longest time, obviously, to get back in are in the line where the crane went down the side of the building. Other questions? Yes, sir.
Mayor, you must be hearing from the industries. Are they, I guess, complaining or offering like an issue in terms of
No, I don't
work
think complaining.
No,
Look, obviously there are jobs involved here. People want to work. They got to get paid. They want to eat. They got to pay their mortgages and feed their families. But they understand that safety comes first, and nobody's going to fight that. They, I'm sure, would like to get it done as expeditiously as possible, and I can see nothing but total cooperation. I was with Ed Malloy and Ray Coletti the other night at a reception for Father Brian Jordan, who's really sort of the unofficial clergyman to the construction industry. He actually knew the construction worker who was in the cab and died. The 3 of us had a little conversation on the side, and they just pledged to do everything they can to help, and I think that's what you're going to see, and we wouldn't tolerate anything else. But I don't, everybody wants to find out what happens. Everybody wants to get it fixed and back to work. We're going to take every precaution first, however, yes.
Can you speak to the seriousness of the criminal investigation? I mean, certainly there isn't.
I don't know how to even respond to that. Number one, I can't get involved in a criminal investigation, and I don't even know where it's going to lead to. You have to talk to the district attorney. It's Robin Morgenthau. I'm sure we can get you his phone number, miss.
Did the city sign off on any repairs to pieces of the crane last year?
I just don't know. We're coming along with all of them. I know, as far as I could tell, in the first investigation just that morning, it would appear that they had all permits in place and that they had been inspected 2 days before when they stepped the crane, and that the paperwork, which is the only thing we can look at instantaneously, was all appropriate. After that, it's just going to take some time. Metallurgists will have to look at the metal and see what actually happened. We'll have to look at the records of how this crane was maintained and if it was repaired, and the repairs and whether they were appropriate or not. Until then, I just can't see anything else. Yes, miss?
Very recently, you announced the hiring of new building inspectors and
Yeah.
all sorts of measures to increase safety, and then this happens. And I know you said it's unrelated to the previous incident, but one of the things that was discussed apparently at this meeting yesterday was a multi-layered approach involving not just buildings department, but other agencies. Do you think that that would be?
Yeah, we'll try, we'll take a look at all of the different suggestions. You can at some point have so many people looking at things that they just get in the way of each other. What you'd be probably better off doing is having some real professionals look at it. And I don't know, incidentally, that those in the past did anything wrong and that there was not the appropriate level of investigation. It may be this is something that nobody could have foreseen, but it's just too early to tell, and we'll have to wait and see, and I just can't go prejudge. Yes, miss?
There was a comment printed in the paper today, out of that same meeting yesterday, the building commissioner saying that if there's any more crane accidents, he's gonna shut the whole city down. Is that something that,
Well, we just can't have this constant stream of accidents. If everyone's unrelated, you know, it's a statistical thing that they happen to come together in bunches and then don't have any for long periods of time. Let us hope that we don't have them, but in the meantime, we can't build this city based on hope. We will do everything we can to make sure that the public is safe, the construction workers are safe, and we'll do that before we get development. We need development. We need new schools. Everybody wants smaller class sizes. Okay, we've got to build. Everybody wants housing. Okay, we've got to build. I mean, there's a variety of things. We need jobs. We have to do all of that. But safety is the #1 priority, and we're going to do that. And I don't want to prejudge what happened before. I have enormous confidence in the acting building commissioner. I think this is a department that no matter what they do, every time there's an accident, you can say that they didn't do their job, but we don't give them any credit for all the accidents that they do prevent. And when there's so much construction going on, there are obviously always going to be, sadly, some accidents. But the issue is to make those as minimal as possible and to make sure that we've done everything we can to keep the city safe. Yes, miss?
Mayor Bloomberg, what a lot of people were saying at the site of the accident, people in the neighborhood, people around New York, is that there's just too much building too fast, and they don't feel that it's being managed and
Well, I think
watched
that's not
carefully.
true. We need building. We have to finish that water tunnel. We have to build more mass transit. We have to build more schools. I don't know how to say to a parent that we don't have a classroom seat for your child because we don't want to go fast. We're trying to do things as fast as we can, but with that also comes a requirement to be safe. And I don't know that there's any reason to believe that the construction industry isn't doing everything they can do. There are too many accidents, and we're going to see if we can do more to make sure everything's safe. But at the same time, if we are going to have a city, we have to keep making these investments and keep building. And it's not just the jobs and the developers' businesses, it is the users of the buildings, whether they are students or patients in a hospital or people who need a job or a place to go to work or people that need housing. We just have to continue to do that. Yes, ma'am?
in terms of the inspectors that are being hired, it's great, you can hire many more
No,
inspectors.
I hope that's the case.
But
There
if-
are a lack of inspectors, and we've got to make sure that we get good ones and qualified. We're not going to go and just hire people willy-nilly. We're going to make sure they have the qualifications.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you can hire as many as you want, but if they're not trained,
There's no
what is
question about it.
changing with the,
Well, I don't know that the ones we have are untrained. I think there's different levels, and we brought in an outside firm to provide a more senior level. Whether that's really needed, I don't know, but I don't want to run the risk. I'd rather have them there than not have them, and that's what we decided to do after the March crane crash, and we'll continue to do that. The real world is you can't have an inspector every single place any more than you can have a police officer every single place or a firefighter with a fire truck every single place. Do we have enough? We have a buildings department that is many thousands of people, and I think it's fair to say that they probably have prevented an enormous number of things that could have led to accidents. They've rectified them, they've walked in, they've said this is not an acceptable practice, stopped until things were fixed. Are they every place, every time, and with complete knowledge? No. And we'll try to ratchet up the level to the extent we possibly can find people and afford to do it.
You don't have any other topics?
Other